So when your son
Please
comes
wait, the
home,
meeting host will let you in soon.
so when your son comes home, tell him to pick me up one of his little white Inu puppies. That's what I would like.
I'll let him know. I'll let him know.
Ooh, how did I get that visual?
Went to YouTube. You started YouTube.
Okay, it's just delayed, huh?
Our meeting will start in about 8 minutes.
Should put a delay, isn't there?
Did you get everything put away? No, you know what we did? We came home, dropped the trailer off, got in the car, went back up fishing.
Oh, well. We didn't get done putting stuff away and helping mom and dad with their stuff too. Everything we got done about 5:15. I'm like, 5:15, it's 5:15 already. I might have to sneak out about 7 for 5-10 minutes. Wait to hear from Char. I need to. I'll just turn my thing over and you can take over.
I'll just sit in your seat for a minute.
Yeah, either way.
I'll never work, so.
People have entered the waiting room for this meeting.
Do I have to let him?
Yes. Let us in. Let us in.
You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
What?
Awesome. Good to see you.
Howdy. So crooked. Straighter. Just a little bit.
Looks good.
What's your limit? What's your limit?
No.
Second.
No,
Gotta get home.
midnight. Midnight.
I did not sleep well last night.
I did.
I slept like a baby up there.
God, so did we. I slept so good.
Woke up at 4:35.
We were camping
Oh, fun.
in the rain.
Did you get some snow, Kevin?
It didn't snow on us, but it rained hard. It snowed all around us.
Where did you go?
Just up to Round Valley.
No.
How's this microphone sound? Is it picking us up okay?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Sounds good to me.
Did you do
Where
some?
we at today, Steve? Up down in Moab again, or
What was that?
I said, where are we at today? In today's background.
Oh, this is still, let's see, what can we do today? Let's do something different. How about Tuscany? How about that?
There you go.
Toscana. There you go. We could do Venice.
I think
Yeah.
it was I think it was the mayor had the deck of the Enterprise for a while. That was pretty cool.
This is back when I was in Venice and no one was there. It's an eerie feeling.
Well, that's just before, yeah, that's when you come back and.
Yeah, just first of March.
We were there in November a couple of years ago, and it was towards the end of November. And my wife had been there during the summer, and she said it was just wall to wall people constantly. And we were there, and we walked right into St. Mark's. We were like pretty much the only ones on the square out there, the piazza. We didn't have to wait in line to the elevator to go to the top of the Campanile. It was awesome. We had.
And when was that?
That was November of 18.
Wow.
8, 9 minutes of us.
That was great. I want to go back.
It's open and it's fairly cheap. I was just looking at some flights there. I think they were $700, $699, $700 from to Rome. Fairly inexpensive.
That
I'm
sounds.
just trying to be like John, or like, sorry, John. It's like Ann and Sarah. Come on, I called you John Arrington there. That's good.
I know that's what my label says. I'm working on changing it right now.
2 minutes. Good.
Thank you. Good. Good now. Good.
Nice job, Ann. Way to go.
Yeah, it's me. You can tell the difference, huh?
Yep, your voice changed.
One minute till showtime. Last week in the 50s and 60s, this week in the 80s and 90s. Don't get crazy.
So wrong. So wrong.
And it's gonna seem hot too, after being in the 50s and 60s last week and then jumping 30 degrees.
Okay, 6 o'clock.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. You recording? Just double check, make sure we're recording
I
here.
don't know if it really is.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it says at the top.
Okay.
Recording.
All righty. Let's call to order the May 26, 2020 regular meeting of the Pleasant View City Council. It's 6 p.m. Welcome, everyone. Those that are joining us on YouTube, it's good to have you with us. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, opening prayer, reading or expression of thought by Dave Merritt. Dave?
Ann. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty
with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful this evening for the opportunity we have to join together as a council and as city leaders. We're grateful for the opportunities we have to serve, and we pray that that would help us tonight to be able to make wise and good decisions and to be able to help our city to progress. We're thankful for all the citizens of our city and ask a blessing to be upon them and help them to be able to enjoy this area and to be able to enjoy the freedoms that we have. We're grateful for the many blessings and wonderful things that we have in our lives as we live here in this community, and we pray that we might have a blessing to be upon us. And we do these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, next is declaration of conflicts of interest. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda, and are there any conflicts? Seeing none, we'll move on to Comments and questions for the mayor and council from the public. Bill, anybody on YouTube or?
Nobody just yet, but I do have a letter that I was requested to read into the record from Ms. Carol Pont, if this is an appropriate time, Mayor.
Sure.
Okay. I'm just going to read this verbatim. I'm not going to offer any comment or anything like that about it. So this is what the letter says. Dear Mayor, council members, and police department. This letter is to express appreciation for the help I've been receiving from the police department and the city council this past month. It is also a request for continued help in resolving a public nuisance issue that was fairly small just a couple of years ago, but now has suddenly grown exponentially. I have worked hard to create a beautiful home and yard with landscaping that I pay professionals to maintain and upkeep. Not only does it help increase my property value, but it gives me a place outside to enjoy and relax in our fresh mountain air. A few years ago, the tall evergreens in my backyard became home to some really big birds, which I later found out are called turkey vultures. Initially, it was 3 birds, then 7, then 11, and at last count, it is now nearly 50. At first, it was something that I wasn't too concerned about, though I didn't like the thought of them being there. But as time went on, it is now become a big public nuisance issue. I am no longer able to go outside and enjoy my yard, especially with so much of their droppings throughout my yard and my deck and patio furniture. With the exponential growth in such a relatively short amount of time, I'm afraid of what could possibly happen next year if something doesn't get done now to prevent it from becoming a much bigger issue. I am grateful for the progress that was made earlier this month when a police officer came to my home several times in the evening when the birds would return to the nest for the night and shot some blanks into the air. The first shot would scare away nearly 50 vultures. The second shot would scare away 20 or so that would try to return. A few nights later, we repeated this process again and then again, and noticed it was helping as the number of vultures were significantly reduced. My neighbor complained to the police about scaring away the vultures because he enjoys watching them with his children from their home. My other neighbor doesn't like the sound of gunshots so close to where he lives. I also have many neighbors on my street as well as neighboring streets who are thanking me for trying to get the vultures out of our area. They too have been commending the efforts of those involved. I need help from whatever agency or resource is appropriate to relocate these vultures somewhere else. I am an elderly widow and cannot climb the trees to take down their nest. I also do not feel that I can stand up to the 2 neighbors on my own who do not agree with me, trying to remedy a nuisance situation on my own property. I would appreciate the opportunity to have discussions with the city so we can work together to find ways to preserve our neighborhood, preserve relationships with the neighbors, and so I can enjoy my home and yard. Sincerely, Carol Pont. She's included a picture of the bird, which you can see there. It's a very large turkey vulture. She's included some information about the habitat and behavior patterns. She's looked into solutions, including putting fake owls up on her property. I don't know if you can see that. She's provided that information and other things that are available, including some sounds and other repellents that she would use. And she's also included, and this is a rather unfortunate, but you can see here, she's got a picture of her deck with some of the droppings on it. You can see that that would indeed be quite a nuisance. So that's the letter, and that is now read into the record.
Bill, can you spell her last name, please?
Yeah.
Carol Pont, P-O-N-T.
Where does she live?
She lives south of 4300, just south of the fire station there, off of
On 4300?
no, off of that, south of that.
4200, 395 west.
There it is. Thank
Oh.
you.
What I'll do is I'll ask the chief if he won't draft an email to send to the council as to what steps have been taken and where we're at in this, so that you'll all have the history and what we've done and can do and can't do. If that'd be okay, chief?
Yes,
The
we
council.
can do that. We've got Division of Wildlife Resources involved. And it falls under their expertise.
Anyway, we'll have them send you all out an email.
Mayor, can I ask just one question?
Sure.
I've never seen, I'm looking at turkey vultures here on the computer. I've never seen that bird. Is that common?
Yeah,
Yes.
we have them in our neighborhood too.
Really?
And there's a lot of them up there, and they're big birds. I mean, it's amazing.
I'll trade you a deer and a raccoon for one turkey vulture.
But she did say that when I spoke with her this morning and then again this afternoon, she did say that the deer up in her neighborhood are an awful nuisance as well. And I said, that's kind of ubiquitous throughout the city. We live near them and they are our neighbors. So that just is what it is there. But yeah, she was not pleased with the deer either.
Okay, Bill, any other comments coming through YouTube or any?
I haven't seen anything just yet.
All right, let's move on then to the consent agenda, the minutes of May 12th, 2020, the open meeting, and May 19th, 2020, which was the Founder's Day Planning Committee.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Gibson, second by Bailey. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. This is item number 1, discussion and possible action to award contract for the 2020 street maintenance project. Dana.
Hello. So we opened bids last week for the 2020 street maintenance. We're doing this in conjunction with Harrisville. We bid it in 2 schedules. You can see on the bid tabulation that Staker Parson was the low bid for both schedules. So we are recommending award to Staker Parson for both schedules with the condition that Harrisville approves their authorizing you to award Schedule B, because you are the lead agency in the interlocal agreement.
Dana, what's the price difference of if they back out? I mean, what do we 322 and 144, a ballpark difference if they back out of their part of it.
There will be no cost difference.
Okay.
So Schedule A is Pleasant View, Schedule B was Harrisville.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they were 2 different projects. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
no, yeah.
I thought it was 2 different projects. Sorry.
And I do have a question. Can you just list the projects remind us what projects these are? I mean, what road?
Let's see.
Yeah, at least a couple of major ones. That's
350 is probably the biggest part of ours. A lot of it is just miscellaneous areas. Honestly, I think Tyson could probably chime in and give you a little better idea.
Okay.
Hey,
It's 350 west from 4300 to
north.
the end of the road to the north.
Mhm.
And then you have the Pleasant View Drive from Price Lane to approximately 1100 west would be the overlay. 3750, there's a small stretch that'll just wrap up that entire road that's got some infrastructure problems that continue to reoccur, and the stretch out in front of the city office on 500 to finish out 500 west. Those are the main bodies of it.
Thanks, Tyson.
quick question, Tyson, if I may, Mayor.
Go ahead.
On 350, did the developer take care of the things that they were supposed to take care of before we go ahead and patch that road?
As far as the storm drain and all getting in the parts we wanted and added, and then we'll come in and there's the 4200 west entry and waterway that'll be removed. And that was all on us, but there's a Pine View issue that seems to still be lingering that hopefully doesn't affect it.
So they have taken, all of that's been taken care of, or it's in the process of being taken care of?
Yes, all of the bigger
Okay.
stuff is taken care of, so they're not gonna end up back down in 4350 where a lot of complaints were, or the 4300 intersection. All that'll be cleaned up and nobody should.
Tearing up our new road.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
that's the question she's asking. They're not gonna-
Yes, because it's been a problem the last several years, so.
Also, may I ask a
Not
question?
that it,
Go ahead, Ann.
One of the residents contacted me about their small lane and when it was scheduled to be paved. Is now a good time to talk about that, or should we talk about that later?
Where's this lane?
if it's
Um,
4575,
It's in front of Kara Liston's home.
so hers we've talked to before, but it's there's going to be some band-aids with hopefully this with some millings, because they're losing a substantial width in the pavement. But because that road was I guess constructed to subpar level and you're serving 5 homes, it's hard to go and spend when you have deficiencies throughout the city. But it is on the near future as needing serious maintenance. It's about to be a gravel road, and I've lumped it in with the alternative projects plans, and it's, to me, is up higher, but
Okay.
there
yeah,
are some that are,
And it's headed towards the top of the list-ish. Yeah?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
One last question. I haven't looked at the budget, but where does this fit into our budget? How much did we have budgeted for these?
A great question.
We were at 400 for the project part.
The engineering estimate, pretty close to that, or?
Yeah, our estimate was 395. And Staker came in at 320, 322, 323.
This is next year's budget.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is well within
So
that
we-
range and leaves us some extra.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we accept the low bid of Staker Parsons at 322. It's 5550.
Mayor,
I'll
I'll
second
the
that
motion.
Go ahead, Dana.
You have to award the whole project for Harrisville as well, but contingent upon them approving that.
Okay, I made my motion to include the whole project with Harrisville taking section B, 144,559.62.
On them signing or agreeing to it. Right?
Yeah, as I agreed to.
Okay.
So they'll just pay us then.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second then?
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gibson, second by Marriott. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So Dana, my question originally was, we're going in to have this hopefully be a little better deal for us. So if Harrisville does not do it, does that change our price at all?
No.
So why,
No, because we
why are
bid
we
it
going
in,
in with them then if it's not?
well, because for example, so Staker Parson was low on both of those, or on both schedules, because they wanted all of the work. So that gives them more incentive to bid the project lower, because the more work that they have, that's,
So, could we say that we possibly could have been closer to the 400 if we hadn't bid it altogether? I guess that's my question.
Likely. Yeah, that's likely.
So,
it would have been higher.
So we could potentially be saving, because if Harrisville backs out for some reason, they're still going to honor the 322, right?
Yes. Yes.
But we got a better bid. We saved, possibly $60,000-$70,000
That's
by
right.
going
Well,
in with Harrisville. That's the point that I'm going to.
You're absolutely correct. And if you even look at the second bidder was Granite, and they didn't bid on Harrisville's part because they don't do that type of work. And their bid was $35,000 higher, just for your section. So that
So-
just shows that Staker
po-
bid yours lower.
The point I wanted to make is it's beneficial, just like North Ogden last year, we got a better deal by going in together. I guess
Absolutely.
that's the point I wanted to try to make anyway.
Yes.
Definitely, yeah. Good point, thanks, Steve. All right, item 2, public hearing, discussion and possible action to consider a rezone from RE20 to RE15 located at 3058 North, 1000 West, parcel 17-336-0001, ordinance 2020-5. Requesters Douglas Hadley. Jill, she here? No, yeah, she is. Well, first, yeah, well, let's go into the public hearing
I'll
first,
make a motion to go into public hearing.
okay?
I'll
We got a
second the motion.
Okay, motion by Bailey, second by Marriott to go into public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're in public hearing. Jill.
Okay. So I had a presentation, but my computer's not working. So sorry about that. So you have everything in your staff report.
Yep.
The first one, the Hadleys, they are located just off of 1000. They're actually on the corner of 1000 and I believe it's 3100.
Do you want me to share a map, Jill? Would that be helpful?
That would, so they know what I'm talking about. That would be
Yeah,
great.
You're just across the street from Kevin's house.
Yes, you guys have done your homework. So their son Doug is the one that has applied for the rezone. In the packet, it shows you their location. They're currently in RE20. While Bill pulls that up. So currently they are on RE20 and their lot is 0.88 in acres. So they're under of 1 acre, but their request is to an RE15 zone, which the future land use map does show 2 to 3 units per acre, and which that would be the equivalent to an RE15 or an RE20 zone. So it does fit the future land use, the general plan. Their intent is to split the back off to equal an RE15 size. The front lot, which would face 1000, would still actually be the size of an RE20, but to make this work, they want to rezone the whole lot RE15, split it off, and then Doug was planning, if this works, to build his own home behind his dad's lot. So staff is recommending approval. Planning Commission is actually recommended approval as well. We do not see any issues. It does meet the general plan and the future land use. So that's what the staff has. Is there any questions that I can hopefully answer, or?
Mayor, I have one question here. I did talk to Alan tonight, and he wasn't aware that he could be keep it as RE20 for his side of the lot. And if that's feasible, I think they would like to keep him at RE20 and the new lot at RE15. Which I don't know, all of the lots along there are all RE20s along 1000, and I think even some to the south of that, but
What would be the advantages versus the disadvantages of having RE20 and RE15 next to each other?
The difference between RE20 and RE15 really boils down to, one, the size, and two, what type of
what you
animals.
can have. Yeah,
Yes.
the animals. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, I have a question. Are they going to treat that just like an independent lot? So will all the utilities and everything be separate? It'll be just
Yes.
Okay.
After this rezone, their next step would be the concept plan and then a minor subdivision. Just so we can make sure everything's done correctly. It would be subdivided and recorded as a separate lot.
Now, all of the utilities are already in the road there in front of the house or in front of where the lot would go. So it's not, it wouldn't require really anything more than just a line on the plat. So.
But they will dig up the roads.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yep. Well, and that's why I hesitate to answer the first question, is because you can never guarantee that something isn't going to come in after the fact. You'll
Yeah, the only thing that I
try your
see,
best to stop it, but you can never truly prevent it.
Hey, Tyson, is that true? I think they may have stubbed out some utilities there along that for this purpose.
If they did, it was done illegally.
Okay. I don't know.
We don't allow non-approved lots or those type of services because you have to maintain them forever. And if nobody ever splits, like they think they might one day, you're going to end up there fixing them, and those ones have leaked in older areas, and so they stopped letting possible splits and possible home building laterals be installed.
Okay.
Okay, let's go back to address the issue that Dave raised about the RE20 and RE15. Is that feasible to do under this, what they've applied here for, or is that's probably Bill or Jill?
I didn't know that's what they wanted.
would you have to change things?
Like a reapplication.
Bill?
Well, the thing is that the ordinance that's in front of you has a legal description that's based on the entire lot. If they wanted a portion of the lot, they would need to provide us with a survey showing that. We can make that contingent or the approval tonight based on the understanding that they may either change the zone for the entire parcel or a portion thereof to be determined by a legal description that they would bring in later. I'm comfortable with either one.
Okay.
With the legal description, they'd have to go through title then, wouldn't they? And have that recorded. That would all have to be done before final approval.
Not necessarily, because the resulting lot would be an illegal lot according to the city's purposes. You can draw up a legal description for a piece of property that is not necessarily recorded and or creates a new lot. That's just survey work. And that would be a legal description of a particular property that doesn't exist other than in some surveyor's plat.
So they still have to go through the minor subdivision.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, and it wouldn't get recorded as anything other than a legal description for our ordinance changing the zone.
And they'd go through the process before we issue a building permit, just like they're going to go through either way.
Correct.
That would all be taken care of first. Yeah.
All right. Is there any members of the public that wish to address this? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
The only thing I have is Doug Hadley said he's trying to get on, but he's sorry he's not able to get in to make any comments. It doesn't appear that he's got any heartburn either way, other than the fact that he can't get on technically.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
And
Jill,
Paul
first,
in the waiting.
what's that, Jill?
Laurie might have to go in and pull anybody that's sitting in that waiting room. I don't know if that's what his.
Melissa Hadley is there.
We're waiting.
Oh, there she is.
There's Melissa.
Let's give her just a minute, maybe, Mayor, and have her make a comment if she'd like.
There she is.
It says connecting to audio and you're muted.
You're muted, Melissa.
If you're talking, we can't hear you, Melissa.
You're muted.
There you go.
No, still can't hear.
Okay.
Your microphone's not on?
Mute. Mute.
Nope, still muted.
I have a quick question while they're working on that audio. So will there be like an impact fee on that road so that they kind of cover that area?
We don't have the road impact or a road moratorium. It's been talked about in the past, but I don't believe anybody ever actually developed it, at least not to my knowledge.
So that's
Isn't there
not,
a fee? There's a fee to cut into the road though. That
Yeah.
covers that.
Yes,
That covers that cost.
Don't unmute it, don't unmute it.
yes, you'll get the road cut fee, but not any moratorium or anything of that nature.
So and the road cut fee covers that. It has to be inspected, make sure it's compacted enough, and so that fee is there depending on what size of hole they dig for a sewer or water line, whatever that is. So that really can be an impact fee, but it's more of a.
is that part of your building permit?
It's a road cut fee.
Yeah. So anytime anybody cuts in the road, they got to pay that.
Yes.
And
The
the
only-
newer the road, the more expensive it is.
The only thing I see about RE15 and RE20 next to each other is if somebody decides to move in the allowances that are allowed in different, zones of animals and stuff, but we have that in other areas of the city, so just a thought.
I think we can probably hear you now.
Yeah.
Hi.
Can you hear us? Hi.
Any comment? Have you been listening to our discussion?
A little bit of it.
We joined late, but we caught the tail end of it.
The tail end question really has to do with the RE20 for the front and RE15 for the back. I don't know.
So is there any
Yeah.
question about it?
Maybe I can explain real quick, Doug and Melissa, that I talked to Alan. I just wanted to understand what was going on with your lot there. And he just mentioned that he didn't know that if his lot could remain RE20 and your lot could be RE15. And
Okay.
because that's feasible, he'd like it to remain that way if possible. So
Okay.
It doesn't affect you guys, but it
No. Yeah.
would affect him.
Are those zones taxed at a different rate?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
They're both residential and be taxed as residential.
Yeah.
Be different
Just-
because of the size of the lots, but not because of the zone of the lot.
Just what you're allowed to have uses in your property. If it's a larger lot, you can have animals, more animal choices than you can in a RE15.
And I think that's why he's kind of wanting to keep it that way, just in case if he does want to get different animals besides chickens.
Okay.
So Jill, will you explain to Doug and Melissa the requirement that you mentioned about the RE15 and RE20 split as far as the surveillance goes?
So what we can, if that's the route that the city council wants to do, they can make that contingent on a survey being done to show the area and the description of the lot. That way we can have that one piece be rezoned versus the whole lot.
So that's different than,
So that's only because Alan wants to keep his
Animals.
So that what it would do is, so that one back part that you were wanting to split off to be the RE15, that would be the description for that one spot that you could have it be RE15, so you can have that smaller lot, but it will leave your dad's lot as an RE20, so he can still have those types of animals, because according to the draft drawing that you gave, it did show that that front lot would be still an RE20 size lot, and so that's why it's feasible.
Okay.
so we need to have that redone again.
No,
Okay.
we can approve it contingency on a Bill, what's the exact words?
So legal survey, a legal description of the property to be changed the zone. So basically you have a survey, you hire a surveyor to come out and do a meets and bounds description of exactly what the property is. And the council could, if they wanted to, vote to change just that parcel, that it would be described legally by this legal description that you would get from a surveyor. And that would be the legal instrument that gets recorded against the property.
So just a question, if Alan did not care about that, we would not have to have that done?
Well, then the whole property would be changed and the zoning for the entire property would be RE15.
That was just,
yeah.
You'd still
okay,
have to have
I
the
was just
legal
wondering,
Just trying to get a hold of you.
okay, I just was wondering if he didn't care about that, if the survey would need to be done.
No, so if he doesn't care about the zone of his property, and the only reason to care about the zone would be to have the animals, the larger animals and things that are allowed in the RE20 that are not allowed in the RE15. If he didn't care about that, then it doesn't really matter that the whole property is RE15.
Okay.
If his intention is really just to have a home with a yard and things that happens to be over the 20,000 square feet required, that's fine. You can have a bigger lot in an RE15 zone. The question is really just the animals and the other uses that are allowed.
Okay.
Oh, so I'm thinking the council can approve this based on a stipulation that if you want to go forward with the RE20 for your dad and the RE15 for you, you have to do what Jill says. If not, then the whole thing will just be rezoned.
Okay.
For the RE15, right?
So then
we can make the stipulation that if they go through the process, it's going to be an RE20 and an RE15. If they decide not to, it will all be RE15. Is that correct, Bill?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Sum that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it your intention to have it surveyed anyway, though? So that the land description is in your name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have it surveyed anyways, just to make sure that we get the property lines in the right exact spot. And
Right.
I mean, he did it offline. The guy that did it for us before, the surveyor that did it before, but yeah, he'll have to come out and actually survey it and put the property lines exactly, just so we know where the property line is between Allen's and the Humphreys, because it's kind of where the property line was before. It kind of got bent over, and then there's not one on the curb anyway, so we have to get it surveyed anyway, so we know exactly where the property line goes anyways.
I would think you'd have to do it anyway to have a legal recorded lot.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
That is correct.
All right. Is there any other comment from the public?
I don't see any more on YouTube.
Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Bailey, second by Uri. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing closed. Council, any questions for staff? No?
Might want to mute
Entertain a
the
motion.
microphone.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the rezone of the Hadley property. This is tricky. Such that the current homeowner can retain an RE20 zone if he so desires. If he desires to do that, then Doug and Melissa Hadley will have to have their land surveyed, which they'll have to do anyway. So
Provide the city with the legal description.
provide the city with that information.
All right.
Yep, so there, my motion is to approve the rezone for their portion to be an RE15. And if, for the whole property be RE15, unless Alan wants his portion to remain RE20, then they'll have to go through that procedure to maintain the RE20 zone.
Okay.
And we can handle that administratively.
Okay, that will be ordinance 2020-5. Correct. I have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Bailey, second by Marriott. Further discussion?
Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead, Steve.
Is this, I know that the area currently is RE20, correct? Or,
Yes.
So the whole subdivision is RE20?
Yes.
There's no RE15 in it right now, right?
Across the street, I believe.
The subdivision is on 1000 West. It's not the property that the new house will be facing.
Okay, I'm not necessarily questioning this particular property, but I'm questioning the precedent that this possibly could set. We have a lot of RE20 subdivisions in the area. You know, I mean, Pleasantville used to be a half-acre lots exclusively until 20 years ago, or when did it turn third-acre lots?
93.
What?
1993, I believe.
And so 17, 18 years ago. Is that open us up to in some of these areas that, I mean, I've got, you know, next to me, I've got 2 lots. They could put three houses in there if we set this precedent to.
Well, we already did it with Serenity subdivision right off of the
Well,
roundabout. That
I
they're a mix of 15 and 20.
Okay.
So I got a question. That whole subdivision across the street from their property, you can see on the little feature map, land use map. I don't know if you guys have, you should have it in your packet.
To the north?
Yeah, to the north. That's to the north.
To the west, north.
No,
Top left.
right here.
RE15.
That's
back and
Jensen, I believe.
RE20 in the front.
Yes.
So that's all our RE15 except on
In the back.
1000 West. That's
Sorry.
RE20.
Yes. I don't think, I mean, we're not separating it. We're not isolating one RE15 in the middle of a bunch of RE20s.
Well, again, I'm not saying this example is not a good one for this, but it, you know, across the street is RE15, and I don't have a problem with it. And I'll vote to approve this particular thing. But if we start, I just see this could be a possible problem in the older part of town where we have a lot of vacant lots.
I think, Steve, you're not wrong to be concerned. I would say that properties like this are unique and very limited in the number of properties that would be affected by this, where they've got enough property and frontage to create lots that are a half acre or 2 third-acre lots. As noted across the street, there are some larger lots that are maybe 3/4 of an acre or half acre or even, and they're in A20, and they cannot be further subdivided though, because they've maxed out the frontage on each lot. In addition to the fact that they're built out. So there are a couple of properties, and we have another one here next that are somewhat unique in that they have both the frontage that's required as well as the capability to be subdivided because they have the size that they need unto themselves.
I don't want to make this too long, Bill or Mayor, but I just think that the example that I'm thinking of is right next to me. I've got 2 half-acre lots, and they come in and put 3 third-acre lots in there. I don't want that in my neighborhood because I like that, you know, the half-acre size lot. That's all I'm asking, and I'll drop it at that. But I want to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand at some point. Anyway, Mayor, back to you. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Wait, roll call, I believe. Norton, right?
Roll call.
Okay. Councilmember Bailey.
Yes.
Marriott.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Yuri.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Got kind of a delay there. That's okay. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Next on the agenda, I lost my. Let's see if I can find it. Shuffling through ordinances and stuff. There it is.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Next is public hearing. Item 3, discussion possible action to consider a rezone from A2 to RE15 located at 3225 North, 1000 West, parcel 17-062-0075, ordinance 2020-6. Requester Craig North, presenter Jill Hunt. Entertain a motion to go into a public hearing for that purpose.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Arrington, second by Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're in public hearing. Jill,
Okay. Thank you, Bill, for pulling it up. Just north of the Hadley residence on the corner of 1000 and 3200 would be the property that Craig North is requesting to be rezoned. As you can tell, it has enough frontage on the 1000 west and also 3200 north, or what's known as the Orchard Drive or Orchards.
Orchard.
Thank you. My brain's not working right now. The current zone is A2, and he's requesting an RE15. And if you look in your packets, there's the drawing, the concept drawing, and it shows that it would equal into the RE15 area amount. The general plan shows 2 to 3 units per acre, which does equal the RE20 or the RE15. The neighboring subdivision, both across the street, which is to the south and also to the west, are RE15 lots. We would have 3 lots front on to Mountain Orchard Drive, and then the main house that's already there would face and have frontage off of 1000. He does have a concept application in, which our department or development group is reviewing and has contacted him, and we're working on things on that aspect. But everything fits. We've made sure the frontage setbacks and everything would work. They would have buildable lots. So yeah, that's what he's requesting is RE15.
okay. Any questions for Jill? Any comment from the public?
Make the motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, no comments.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Arrington, second by Bailey, to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're back into our regular meeting. Questions for staff for Mr. North? If none, I'd entertain a motion. Bueller?
Mayor, I'll make that motion to rezone this property from A2 to RE15.
Okay, that's ordinance 2020-6.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Roll call.
Roll call. Thank you. Marriott,
Yes.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Was that a yes?
Yes, yes, sorry, yes.
Fury,
Yes.
Arrington,
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4 is update on the Skyline Drive project. Presenter Gary Horton with WCEC Engineering. Gary, good to have you back with us.
Hey, let me try and share my screen. I just got to make sure which one I'm sharing. Here we go. All right. Let me know once you can see my screen, if that's okay.
Got it.
Okay. So I try to make the presentation pretty simple, just due to the format. Run over some updates over the last, probably been the last month, I guess, 2 weeks to a month. So the map I'm presenting to you is phase 1 of the Skyline Drive project, just in case you're not here. I'm sure you all are, but to be safe. Over here where my mouse is moving, that's US 89. And over here, just off the edge, is 1100 West. So these are the current parcels that we are acquiring right away from. Give you an update on a couple. I think last time I mentioned Lois Larson, that's been acquired. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had some great progress with the Mons. Contrary to the initial conversation, we tried to submit it to them about 5 times. So when you present the actual offer, you have to formally give it to them so that they know they received it. About 4 or 5 times we tried to make that happen. Finally, about 2 weeks ago, we gave it to them and have had some very positive conversations over the last couple of weeks. So I think that's progressing well. M&S Holdings, the appraisal is complete, and I believe that offer, if it hasn't been given, will be given this week. The offer to the Donette Scott has been given to them. So we are in conversations. Towers Investment, I had a conversation, I was part of a conversation with them, clarifying a few of their questions regarding a easement versus them having them having the ability to excavate down to that grade. Simply kind of stated that in a way they were kind of wanting it both ways, and we kind of explained to them if we acquire the right of way, you know, that if you're selected as a contractor, you have the opportunity to excavate it, or you know, we can pursue other avenues. So we've been in conversations. We may end up not even having to acquire much from them. And 4300 North Ranch, the offer has also been given to them. Waiting for more of a formal response, but our initial feedback from them was not very positive. In a simple term, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but it wasn't very positive. But there were a couple others that weren't very positive to begin with that have turned around. So I'm still hopeful. And then similar with investors, it's been very promising conversations over the last couple of weeks. What they were hoping to get out of the value of the land, the appraisals came in a little bit higher than that. So that's kind of a quick conversation regarding the progress on phase 1 right-of-way acquisition. I'll keep going and then I'll open it up to any questions and answers. Phase 2, and I apologize, we're zoomed out a little bit. I don't know if I get too much closer that you won't be able to see it. Needless to say, over the last couple weeks, we have met with every one of these property owners to show them the design and the right-of-way documents that would be prepared, to gather feedback from them if there's any way we could reduce some of those impacts or make any minor tweaks. I wouldn't say them major tweaks, but minor tweaks to either address their concerns or reduce the amount of impact on their property. But overall, I think the conversations went well. Great feedback from them, and there's a few items that we were going to add to kind of reduce some of the potential impacts and costs associated with acquiring that right away. So that's phase 2. The third item that I wanted to bring everybody up to speed, the council up to speed, was we mentioned a grading package that we're trying to prepare. We sent that to Dana. Dana provided some feedback and some comments on that. We anticipate those comments, they've been addressed. We're going through a review to make sure to verify those comments have been addressed. I anticipate I'll be talking to Bill and the city this week about details of the advertising, such as how long do we want to advertise it? How do we want to announce it? Where do we want it? A few items like that. So I think that was, and once again, that grading package, just as I have phase 1 back up, in essence, starts at about the investors or Towers investment access and runs to USA 9. We don't really need the property from 4300 North to press forward with that grading package, because the grading package allows for the access from Towers investment continue as is, such that depending on who is selected or who is awarded for this grading package, they can continue operations while this is going on. Obviously, they are very interested in this project, and they've been very excited and mentioned their desires also just to even start running on this gravel road or whatever this could be. So I'm sure they'll be a part of it, but we had to prepare a bid package that allowed them to continue operations in the event they aren't the selected contractor. That kind of gives, I think, what I felt were the three highlights of the project right now, but that's going to open up to any other questions or anything else I can clarify.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I just thanks for bringing this forward. I didn't expect to have an update so soon, but I appreciate it. I'm not sure why we do have it sooner than right now. Is there a reason why? I mean, anything you need from us right now, or?
No, I think it was just, I think some of the, wanted to make sure everyone was aware of progress that's happening. It's a little bit, like I said, with negotiations going on, I can't be, they have to follow the federal guidelines. So want to keep those confidential as best as possible, but I just want everybody to know progress was happening.
I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
One question I had is, once they're given the letter and they receive it, is there a timeline that they have to respond to you, or is it open-ended?
So there is a timeline from the initial offer that we have. Well, after 30 days, we can provide to them what's called a 4 options letter. And in that 4 options letter, it gives them the details of, it basically puts them on notice that if they do not want to cooperate, here's the time frame that we would need to go to condemnation. So it does, that's we can't give that, they have to have the initial offer for 30 days before we can provide that. After that, after we provide the 4 options letter, within 90 days, we can, that's when it can go to court, and typically they can provide a right of occupancy. Even if we're still negotiating property, it gives us the ability to still go to construction.
Okay. Then my other question is, thank you. Yeah. So with the Towers gravel, the gravel trucks using this road, I'm guessing if it's just graded and it's just gravel, it's going to take a beating, right? I mean, but is the city responsible for maintaining that? Does the gravel business have any liability on that at all?
So what we've written in this, in what we're calling the grading package for this grading, as long as the contractor is grading this, they're responsible for the maintenance of this road. After that, once they've excavated all the material and got it down to what we're calling the rough grade, so from there they would come up with untreated base course and then asphalt. City, once this grading package is complete, if we want to modify, we could add to the grading package that they are responsible for maintenance of this road, but it's going to be an additional cost that may delay construction of the final project. At some point, the grading will be complete, and hopefully we're looking at final construction, but yeah, it's not intended for vehicle, or I would say your regular vehicle traffic. I mean, it can be used, but yes, it's going to be rough. It's not intended for a Toyota Corolla. I would imagine it can, but over time and storms and stuff like that. But
I would assume we want to keep it closed until we get it. I mean, as far as regular traffic.
Right. And just how long do you anticipate it'll be gravel versus asphalt? How long will it stay in that gravel state? Would you guess? I know that's asking a lot.
$12 million.
Yeah.
We have that in our bank, then that's when we got to
have money and where we can get money, which we're constantly trying to do.
Yeah.
Gary, when were you?
I would also, let me clarify one question in that time frame. I anticipate we'll be coming back to the city council part of the grading package, we are asking the contractors to provide us a price for a time frame. So we've asked, how much is it going to cost to do it in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? So there's a little bit that will come back to the city council on what is value for that additional time versus expediting the project.
When
So
are you going out to
intentional
bid for the grading package?
Go ahead. I'll be discussing that with the city I'll be discussing that with Bill this week. I would anticipate over the next
Okay.
couple of weeks.
So very soon.
Very soon.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sooner than later.
Okay,
Thank you. Good update.
thank you. Gary, will you unshare your screen?
I will work on. There we go. Yes.
The reason why we
I'm not a
asked
regular
Gary,
Zoom participant, so I'm working on it there.
the reason why we asked Gary to present this was because the council has asked for regular and periodic updates on this, on the status of this. So this is just in response to that. There was no particular pressing issue or item that needed to come to the fore. It was just in response to the council's request for those periodic updates. So that's where
This
that.
is
that's what
very
prompted it.
helpful to see this. I appreciate seeing this and hearing the expedited update, so to speak.
Right. And can we just kind of keep this on every, what, 3 months or so, or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or as needed, a minimum of 3 months, but as needed if there
Yeah,
are.
I think the grading package bid will come back before 3 months, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hope
you'll
so
see that
too.
pretty soon.
We'll put that on. Yeah.
And I'll leave the meeting and that'll hang me up and I'm sure you'll not see my screen. I'm not quite.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
So that'll solve the problem. Thank you, everyone.
All right, we're gonna move to the next item. I apologize, I have to step out for a moment. Mr. Bailey will take over. I'll be back. And problem, Kim.
All right, hurry and approve everything while he's gone. Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to discuss discussion on recycling survey and increasing recycling fees. Bill.
Well, I gave you an update. I sent you all a PDF of a summary of the results that you had seen. That was about a week and a half ago. We have since then received another 20 or so responses. I can show those to you if you want, but they are all exactly in line with what we've seen. They follow the same trends. And so I think that as far as the survey goes, it's been very useful. We reached out to over 600 residents. And the results that we got, I think, are all pretty much in line with kind of what we were thinking. I don't think that there were any big earth-shattering or exciting details that came out, except a question about where I get my bow ties. And so I guess the question now just is one of what is the council's pleasure with regard to the increasing the fees, and we can discuss adding that extra 75 cents in to help offset the cost that the city is operating currently under a loss or at a loss. And if we wanted to bump that up just a little bit so that we can continue the program and not cost the city from general funds, but have the thing pay for itself. So.
Isn't that the reason we did the survey in the first place, is because we were questioning whether we should raise the cost?
That's right. There was an open question whether or not the city residents were actually getting any value out of it. And I think as you saw in the report, that the responses were overwhelmingly yes, that they were either in favor of it or strongly in favor of it. So yeah, I think that people are seeing the value. There were a lot of questions, yeah, so it was more of an education piece. And I think that I know there were a couple council members that went out to the actual Good Earth facility, and they were able to tour the facility and help put to rest some of the questions there. And
It was very helpful to see the process and to see, you know, to learn more about what we could do better to help keep tipping fees down and to actually watch them, you know, what they do at their center and to know that recycling is alive and well. And indeed, if you do, you know, it's not just going to the dump, as we have heard from other sources. And so,
And if for no other reason, I think that was a valuable thing to have council members
Mhm.
go out there and see exactly what their operations are like and to see for themselves that it isn't just going out to the landfill or being shipped off to China or whatever.
Yeah,
so
I
people-
think, I think the thing I learned the most out there, I mean, the process is working and then they're recycling most everything that goes through there. They're trying to recycle. But I think this is more of just a temporary market adjustment. We're going to continue to recycle and we're probably going to pass this tonight that we're going to increase the fees. But at some point, those fees are going to go back down because the market is gradually becoming available in the US and Canada locally instead of in China for us to sell this, and it's going to pay for itself. So I think we would expect at some point that this would be favorable for us to recycle at a lower cost. I don't know how we would adjust that back, but or we just pass this to carry on the fee, pass on whatever fees there are for recycling, and if there are any fees, we lower the cost.
Right, so recycling tipping fee that they're quoting us, is it $59?
The decrease went down to 59. Yes.
So do we need the 75 cents or where are we at now?
So that's what I was talking about, how much you want to float. Because we've been riding on the pool for a few years now, and it goes up and down with that budget. I don't know if we've sat down and broke it into a smaller number or version of that 75 cents since the field trip, but if there was at a reduced amount, I think we're down to 90, if I believe I remember correctly. You know, a reduced amount, and if it does go lower, like Dave's saying, you would just push more about public outreach and start utilizing the tools, mailers, try to put in time to get out there and do the audits, even as staff, where you flip the lid, which is pretty common in other cities. But I don't believe we've set and came up with any specific number.
It's kind of
Other
hard
than
to
the-
do.
Say that again, Laurie.
It's just kind of hard to get an exact number because tonnage goes up and down. The rates with this company goes up and down. So it's kind of a moving target.
Right. I'd like to entertain too. I mean, I guess if we have a little bit of a surplus, it'd be nice to have occasionally like a glass drive or something that we could, you know, recycle that with.
Well, and one of the things that came out of the suggestion box was to put a large dumpster for larger items that don't fit maybe in the can. If you bought a TV, that's not going to fit in your can unless you cut it up. But if we had a place where you could put your cardboard box that your TV or your fridge or whatever came in, that might be beneficial as well. So maybe we could use some of the offset in the event there is an offset to put that kind of thing in.
Yeah, I kind of hesitate to do that because I think people abuse it. They just put garbage in there. But if we did like a short term something, you know, maybe, but.
No, and so if the accepted is the 75 cents and you put that towards having a area or facility that meets all of those public works needs and you can facilitate those type of programs, where we've always done those are down at now as a pickleball court. So for Pleasant View City, we don't really have a functioning site for those types of things anymore. But that would be the direction I would want to head if it was me. That would be
Okay.
my direction, is if we utilize this for outreach, and when the time comes, if that money is used to get the facilities to be able to do those, we could do smaller ones in the meantime with it. But to have that type of functioning site that we were discussing will take time.
So if we had a surplus, Tyson, could that help us with like a green waste spot? I mean, could we use it for that, or does it have to be just totally dedicated to the recycling, this type of recycling?
My understanding would be, no, you could use it towards a joint facility, like all of them sort of the solid waste, water, sewer, kind of help pay for the trucks that the utilities use, because that's a lot of their time moving cans. And I would believe you could do the same principle with a site where they all need something bigger than the one we're in. Even if it just starts as land, and you can, barricade it off and then facilitate those programs however often you feasibly can, and obviously fiscally responsibly from there on. But we just don't have the site to do any of it adequately, in my opinion.
Tyson, do you know of somebody who's doing it well? I mean, is there a city around here that's doing something that's working like that?
I absolutely love North Ogden's, where it's facilitated, and this is the timeline. And it seems like anytime I've been over there, there's the 3 staff, and I think that's what they're running it with, and maybe 1 volunteer. I mean, there's lots of options. Everybody wants those green wastes, and it seemed like for years they've ran theirs with volunteers up front for free dump passes. And if you have the site, you can facilitate those type of things, and to go out and have everybody bring it to you in a close area, and you're not hauling to the transfer stations and dumps, and I think is a great benefit to residents. It's just a matter of policing it in that style or that setup.
So then the discussion, I agree, a green waste facility would be really nice to have. But the discussion that we're having tonight, Tyson, would you recommend us raising the tipping fees then, or excuse me, the residential fee by 75 cents, or what would your recommendation be to cover our costs of recycling to continue?
I would, with that in mind, that it would be for public outreach and facilitating future needs and buffering that, because you don't know if it's going to go back up. And yes, it's a difficult one to budget, but that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
And remember that we've been subsidizing this for how many
Right.
years, Tyson? So.
Yes.
Okay.
So to increase it by 75 cents per resident or per bill, so to
Per
speak.
month, per container, right?
Yeah. So do we need some official action to move forward with that? Is that the consensus? Is that what we are thinking, everyone?
If that's your consensus, when we do the budget, it'll be part of the budget. We'll have the consolidated fee schedule there. You guys can adopt it then along the budget.
So we don't need action tonight.
No, but is
The
that
official number, just to be clear, the official number on the yes versus the no on the increase was 82% were in favor of it and 18% were not in favor of the increase. So we also had 600 votes on a survey like this is actually a pretty good response rate. That's roughly 1 in every 5 or 6 residents in the city looked at this and took the time to respond. They actually sat there and thought about it. They took average of about 2.5 minutes to complete the survey, and you know, they were interested in it, and so this was good. And we'll probably do more of these kinds of things in the future.
And I got some comments back from some citizens too, Bill. So thank you for your efforts. I think people
I did
Appreciate
too.
us asking.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
may I comment for a minute? Just one,
Yeah.
30 seconds?
Sure.
I'm against the whole thing, honestly. I think we should evaluate the whole recycling, the whole aspect, the green glass, everything. I think from what we've heard, a lot of people are putting the wrong products in the recycling containers, which is causing us to have a huge cost, I think. Or what did they say when you went on your little field trip? How much of these recycling product was not recyclable?
They said 30%.
30%.
So if we took that 30% out, anyway, I think we should evaluate everything. You know, I would like a green waste dump. I think that's a lot of green waste put in our garbage. I can't stomach paying to recycle. I think that's something that originally, you know, we were paid a little bit, or we came out even to recycle. I know we have to pay the people to haul it, but it just, you know, what was it up to? The worst case, Tyson, was $80 a ton.
Yes, just over 80.
It's over $80 a ton for our ability to recycle stuff. Is just something's wrong with that.
There was
So
a reason
anyway,
for that, though. That there was, and they
I
explained
don't
that
care,
reason.
but
Okay.
yeah, I know, but anyway, I just don't think. I think we should stop it until it makes it feasible to not have to pay. So anyway, that's my 30 seconds, Mayor. But I'm against it. So
I'd like to move forward with raising the, looking at increasing the budget, you know, with the tipping fee.
I would too. I'd like to move forward with looking at it. I'm in support of it.
Yeah, I see your point, Steve. I think people, they don't want to, they're willing to pay. They're saying they're willing to increase because they don't want to have our landfills filled up. Yeah, it's frustrating. We would have to pay any, right? But I think, like I said, I think the market's going to change that at some point. But
or our program. I think we should look at it. Anyway, that's fine. I'm 1 of 5. That's fair. I can live with that. But
I do agree with your.
This doesn't feel right to me. It just something we should look at it and have something better. And I don't know what that is to make a. But anyway, it just.
I do think we need to do a lot better job of educating.
Yes.
Educating, because if you don't go see it, or if you don't understand what's happening, then we're going to get people that are going to throw 30% of their stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. And I'm guilty of it. I think probably all of us are guilty of putting the wrong stuff in the container, and we're the ones probably most familiar with it.
I wanted to point out, we have these flyers that have gone out periodically in with the bills as they go out. They have at the top a list of things that you can put in and things at the bottom that you should not put in. That's where this question came from on the list. The things that they do recycle, and this is kind of Steve's point, I feel like, is that the amount of things that they do recycle is relatively small. And then the things that they don't accept that people would think that they do is relatively large. And that's just a market thing. I mean, they can't take disposable diapers, for example. Oh, that's kind of gross.
But I don't know why people would think that you could anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Bill, you should put that on Facebook.
I'd
And
also like to, when we were there at the facility, we talked to them about doing an audit, a periodic audit, and seeing what percentage of our recycling is actually waste versus recyclable. And so I'd like to take like a baseline. They said they do that for us at no cost, and kind of see what our average is right now. I'd like to do that soon. And then I'd like to send out some educational pieces and then see if we get better and if there's a difference between us educating them or not.
How can they do that for Pleasant View? Because I don't think our truck would pull in at 10 o'clock and then another truck pulls in at 3 o'clock, but they've got other cities coming in all in between. How are they going to keep track of
they actually have
our
it
truck?
down to a science. They have it all scheduled and mapped out. They know how to do it.
It's in billing. They have to know what truck's coming from which place for the tonnages, or so they're all scheduled out.
Yeah, but if they weigh our truck, and then are they going to be able to see if we have 30% out of that one truck?
As they sort it,
they'll tip it on the floor in one location, and they'll keep all of our trucks in the same location, and then they'll filter it all through their system, and they'll be able to tell us.
If
Yeah,
we
even
ask
if they
them for
just
the
do it
audit.
one time for the audit.
Yeah. While I agree with Steve, I personally agree with Steve. I think through the survey that Bill has performed, the citizens of Pleasant View have like spoken, right? I mean, I personally agree with Steve, but I think that our constituents have like told us the majority of them have said, yeah, we want to recycle. So,
Everybody wants to recycle, and I'm the same one. I don't want stuff to go in the landfill. I would love to have, the recycle. I hate throwing out a pop can because I feel that I don't want that sitting there in the landfill for 100 years or 200 years. I would much rather recycle it. But to have me have to pay that, 75 cents here, we're going to raise it $1, $2, $3, $4, whatever it's going to be down the road for the privilege of recycling. I just think that that's broken. And I think there possibly could be other ways that we could fix our whole system. And as I said before, I think that could involve green dump of some sort, the glass recycling. Ogden City has glass recycling there on Monroe or Quincy, Monroe and just it's north of 20th. They got the big glass recycling things, and I think we could lower our whole impact, our whole footprint, if we could fix it a little bit and make it work. So anyway, 30 seconds way up. Sorry about that.
All right, so it's not on the agenda for action, right? So just discussion.
Yeah, it's
That was very interesting. I'm sorry I missed most of the discussion. I'll just give you my 2 cents, Yeah, I thought the survey was very good. I was frustrated in 2 aspects. One is we need more education. It's like I don't know how to educate them. Since I've been mayor, at least twice a year we've pushed something out. I put it in my message before. It's kind of like once we come around and teach a class, I don't know how we're going to get you up to speed on it, but we'll just keep pushing stuff out. The second was the misconception that we're currently just taking it to the landfill and dumping it anyway. So why are we taking it in a separate can? That's not the case, never been the case. I know there are some cities that did that, why they were kind of considering what to do, but that has not been Pleasant View. So news travels fast and everybody makes assumptions that oh, well, then everybody must be doing that, or I don't know how they get from point A to point B, but many of them apparently have. The thing I found interesting was a lot of people called for an increase in service. Glass, for instance. Steve mentioned a central place for glass. The other was the green waste. Certainly some things we should consider if we're going to keep the program, maybe doing some other things to, especially the green waste. That would be that. I hear that so much. That's second only to gravel trucks. I swear.
I hear it a lot too. People would love a green waste facility.
Something we can consider. All right.
I'm curious though, if we ran this survey or if we were just have this discussion in late November, if people would have the same kind of response to the green waste versus this time of year where people are generating so much. We had it in Orem. It was expensive. It was $20 a month per can, and they only picked it up twice a month. So it was expensive. We found it was useful because we were not filling up our landfill with green waste, but
this would not, my vision is not a can at all. This would be a drop-off point. We're not going to take grass clippings in a can.
Load your truck and take it somewhere.
This is strictly load the pickup truck and dump it off somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I would.
So yeah, so Bill, that's my green waste recycling is not a can.
Well, I'm just saying that was my point of reference on that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was my point of reference on that, is that they would come to your house and pick up your green waste, and it was nice. They also had a green waste drop-off facility for larger things, branches and whatnot that you couldn't fit in the can. But again, you paid for that.
Okay. All right, that was my 2 cents. Thanks for letting me throw that in. Sorry, I had to step out.
Mayor, I had one more thing if I could share. There was a video that they sent to us in an email of the process recycling. I'd like to see if we could put that up on the website. I think it was very helpful to see the process that it's in Weber County, and they're using this highly automated equipment to sort our product.
Yeah, would you send me a link to
Are they
that?
okay with us putting it up on the
Bill,
website?
it's in the email that I forwarded to you that
Okay.
Amy at Recycled Earth sent to us.
Okay.
Are they
I'll look
okay
into
with
that.
us putting it on our website?
That we asked them
Oh,
if it was
yeah,
okay, and they
she
said
is.
yes. Yeah. They created the video themselves, but definitely they'd like to do that. And
I
the other
think
thing
more
is,
we can educate the public.
yeah,
better
I
off.
think it's helpful. And then the other thing is maybe part of the survey, or not a survey, but an audit of the cans. Maybe we give out some rewards or something occasionally. If we go audit, 10 cans a month or something like that, that if they've got everything correct in there, you give them a straw market certificate or something like that. I don't know, just in thought.
You gonna dig through those cans?
I'd be
Dave?
glad to audit those. I'm not auditing the garbage can, but the recycling can I would.
No, Steve, they have it down to a science. When they bring in the trucks and stuff, they will tell you exactly, because of when your garbage, is picked up and your recycling is picked up, they can tell you down to the street of who is costing the city more money.
All right, should we move on? Yep. Okay, item 6 is discussion and possible action to approve options on the reseeding of the multi-sports park. I believe we have a problem there. Is that correct, Bill or Tyson? I saw an email when I stepped out. But I was busy
Great
doing
segue.
other-
Well, so I messed up on the bidding process and didn't clarify with the first guy that we spoke with and present them all with the same option. But on top of that, since that time and figuring that out from our little rainstorm last week, they turned the sprinklers off back on Tuesday. And that whole, well, not the whole, but the southwest corner's still saturated and ponding, and just reminding us all that it's a detention pond and flows that much water. It's taking in nicely. We got the last of our seed back from Ormond from last year's hydro seed, and I think I recommend we just move forward with overseeding, aerate, plug it in, and let the parks turn it into a park while we work on the decel lane and the other components. That'll all take time, and
All right,
it'll give
we'll
time for it to grow.
We'll schedule a meeting and handle this administratively. Then if we want to, when we get through the bids, if we need to come back to the council, we'll bring it back to the council. That's unfair. So let's schedule a meeting, Tyson, me and you and Bill this week. That's if you're available.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move on to item 8 then. 7. Discussion and possible action to approve seeking bids for the decel lane for the multi-sports park. Tyson.
Just looking for permission to go out to bid on the decel lane that's required. Our UDOT permit only lasts until October. The estimated cost was $108,000, and we have $135,000 in the budget. We'd like to move forward with seeking those bids.
Bill, maybe you can explain to the new council members what we're talking about here with the decel lane.
So in order to access the property off of Highway 89, which is a UDOT facility, they require us to put a deceleration lane to get cars that are slowing down to get over into the parking lot, off of the road and out of the main flow of traffic. So that's the deceleration lane, where you would slow down and move to the right to get out of the way. And that's what's required per UDOT in order for us to access onto their facility. We actually went a pretty long route on this. We were trying to work with the property owners to the south or east, depending on which Pleasant View person you're talking to.
Which the mayor, he's screwed up on direction, I tell you what.
I think he
the
thinks it's
southeast,
east.
On the southeast.
It's
edge
the
of
south.
property.
I sent the description and the project layout.
Yeah, so you'll see that, but we talked with them about putting the road there. Ultimately, that's where it's going to need to go. So the length of the deceleration lane that the city would be responsible for is significantly less because we're not going all the way to where the road is, which would be directly opposite where it comes out of Jacobs Mill.
We do not want this permit to expire.
We don't. This was difficult to get, and we want to move on it and get it done.
Saved us a bunch of money the way we're doing it.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve Tyson going out to get the bids on this deceleration lane.
I'll second the
Thank
motion.
you.
Motion by Gibson, second by Bailey. Further discussion?
How are we gonna advertise it? Just with the regular people, or are we gonna,
You have
Does
to
this
put
have
it on
to-
the state website.
does this have
Yeah.
to be a major contractor, or can?
Yes, it's over the 50, so it's advertised and
You put it on the state website.
Competitive.
I mean,
bids.
I'm just wondering if we could do a small, instead of getting the big boys involved, if we could have it be a
It
smaller,
has to be on UDOT's approved list, I'm assuming.
it has to be on, I guess that's the question I'm asking.
Yes, it's on their highway, yeah.
Well, I'd still like to look into it and just see, because it's not gonna be a major job. And if we could get somebody smaller to bid on it possibly, I
Yeah.
think, I'd like to try that as maybe part of my motion. Just to see if we could get a little guy to do it.
we can look into what's allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll let anybody that we're allowed to.
Yeah. Dave?
Yeah, so was there a reason why we didn't include this in the road surfacing stuff that we just approved tonight?
Yeah, it's a whole different.
It's a UDOT project and it requires a completely different set.
Yeah, I think that the city's private roads have to be bid out differently than public roads with UDOT.
Okay.
Okay.
So what happens if it expires? I mean, we have to complete the project by then? We don't have to complete it by then, right? Or by October?
We were just given a pass to operate without it, I think. Isn't that it? I mean, is it?
Well,
It's a
we were
conditional
allowed to,
permit.
Yeah.
we were allowed to create a significantly smaller decel lane in anticipation for the larger lane coming in later when the road comes through with that other property owner, which they hem-hawed around, but finally, much to my surprise, but pleasantly surprised, they said, yeah, we'll allow that. We don't want it to expire and have to reapply and have them say, no, you gotta build the entire thing, which might jack the cost up double.
No, it's not worth it. Yeah.
I mean, we need it one way or the other, so we might as well just do it, take advantage of it. All right, did
'Cause you
I,
have to have it to utilize your park.
Yeah.
You
Did
have
I
to
pull
have
out
something.
the motion in the second? Yeah. Okay. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Great. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve the renewal of the EAP program for the 2020-2021 fiscal year with the rate change of a flat rate of $3,000 per year. Laurie?
Yes, right now, it's in the budget that we're gonna be looking at. It has been about $900, $1,000 a year, and they're changing to $3,000 a year. And they're wanting approval so they can go ahead on their end. So do you want to keep that program or not? It's $3,000 this year, this coming year.
Remind me what the money goes to, the employee assistance programs again.
Yeah, if anybody's having any type of marital problems or we have shootings, they can go and talk to counselors and get help.
It's mental health issues.
Mental health.
Okay.
Have we had, we don't want to say who or anything, but have we had people utilize the program?
We have.
And
Yeah.
I'm not embarrassed to say that I and my family have used this. You know, we've been through some tragedy and had some difficult things, and this has been a very valuable resource for us and for me personally. So we're grateful for it, and I have used it, and I think it's useful.
So the $3,000 is total, or is that per employee?
No, it's total.
Total, okay.
Also,
I would
is
just,
mental health coverage with the health insurance, or is this in addition?
It's counseling, and they also provide financial counseling, even to help your family members that aren't employees. You can go in with them, children, all kinds of people that are associated with the employee. Does that help?
So what I'm asking is, does the medical insurance that the city has for our employees, does that cover this type of thing as well?
You probably have to pay a copay or something and talk to a specialist. But these are just counselors. And also help, they have all kinds of counselors, financial counselors, even helping people with retirement as far as what do they do with Social Security, or if you have elderly parents, they can help you out with questions and counseling.
Can I say something? It's Jill.
Go ahead, Jill.
So with the health insurance, it is part of it, but one thing to keep in mind with insurance, depending on the diagnosis. So for example, depression, that would, if you want to go see a counselor, that would most likely be approved. But for other types of things, insurance may or may not cover it. It just depends on what the reason is you're being seen.
Well, and for example, in my case, with grief and loss counseling or marital counseling or things like that, I haven't had any marital issues, thank goodness, knock on wood, not yet anyway. But I have used it in the past for that reason, and in other places I've been in, and it's been absolutely invaluable to me personally. And like Jill says, that it's not just a health-related issue, and so some things that are strictly a physical body health type issue, your health insurance doesn't cover that. Grief counseling, for example, it wouldn't cover that. Or like Lori points out, the financial counseling that people would go and get, they're obviously not going to be covered by health insurance. So this is a really valuable service.
And EAP is long-term use. It's more of a helping you figure out if you need to see an actual provider that deals with the mental health. I mean, they can refer out that way. So there's a lot more to EAP than just, going into them.
This is a real common benefit that most businesses have, most entities have, and I think it's a good thing. It's really a short-term 24-hour service that you can call anytime and get help and assistance, and it's not really necessarily a long-term like your a healthcare provider would do. Right? So I don't see an issue with it. I think it's a great thing.
If we have even a single employee that benefits from it, it's $3,000, folks. It's not like.
I just wanted to know what it was and what it looked like. That was really my question of what is it?
I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm just saying if it helps a single person, it's worth it. So I'll make the motion that we approve the renewal of the EAE program as stated.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Bailey, second by Yuri. Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item
Mayor,
9.
I just like to encourage everybody to use it. I mean, I think we originally got this with an emphasis on the police department, and I know it went for everybody else as well. So I'm not just saying police department are nuts, chief, not included there, but I think I don't just want to have it because it's a good thing, which I think it is, but I want people to be able to utilize it. As Bill, I mean, you had a horrible thing happen to you, and I wouldn't want to have that happen to anybody. And if anybody can be helped through these things, I think it's an important thing. But I don't want to pay it just because it's a nice and warm, gives us warm and fuzzy. I want it to be able to be utilized. So
Sure.
anyway,
Yeah, Bill, you make a note on the next department head meeting. Let's talk a little bit about this and make sure that department heads encourage their employees, make sure they're well informed about this program so that, you know, we're paying for a program. If they need it or want to use it, let's make sure they're aware of how to use it and what it is. Okay,
Absolutely.
great, good
We've
suggestion.
had several members of the police department utilize this, whether it's professional or personal issues. We bring that up as part of the process of resolving those issues. And all of them have taken advantage of that. It's been a really good thing.
Yeah, we're really using it. That's good. I'm glad.
I think that's where these programs initiated, was police and fire started using them decades ago, and they kind of grown to include all employees. All righty, item 9, discussion possible action to renew insurance coverage with the Utah Local Governments Trust with the term of July 1st, 2020 to July 1st, 2021 for general liability insurance, property insurance, and auto physical damage insurance. Bill.
Well, this is yet another one of those opportunities for your city administrator to shine. I went into very significant and serious negotiations with the trust to wrangle our coverage to increase and our premium to decrease. And the numbers that you see there, our previous liability limit was $2 million. We're now up to $5 million. And the premium has gone down, even though the increase in limit has gone up. So I can't remember the exact number. I think it was about $17,000. Lori, does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was around 70,000 and change before for less coverage. Now we're down to 54 and change and up to 5 million in liability coverage. So I'm working hard for you.
Kudos to you, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Questions?
hey, Bill, or Mayor, can I ask Bill a question?
You betcha.
I know that, you know, the trust is, most cities have the trust, but are there other options even for this that?
Yes.
I mean, I would hope that the trust would be our best option, right? I mean.
It is. We look at it regularly, and North Ogden uses Olympus. They are a firm out of Salt Lake that is really the main competitor for the trust. There are other national large-scale firms that deliver this kind of coverage as well. But we found that the trust is the best place for the city. It's both the least expensive, but also because it's a general liability pool, everybody's costs are defrayed over the whole area, and it's local to Utah, but it's also responds better to the needs of the local communities in Utah. And
don't we get a rebate periodically from them?
We do, and so you'll see that on item number 5, there is a premium relief credit that we'll be receiving on that. That's where our premium is actually as low as it is.
Good business practices. No, I've appreciated the representatives from the trust that have come to do education and provide us with training and what they do. I think that they are very responsive. So.
Do we have a motion, Mayor? I'll make that motion if we haven't, to go ahead with this in coverage.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Gibbs, second by Bailey. Further discussion?
Does it includes all city employees? It's everything the city does. Does it include the council and mayor and all as well and that stuff, or no?
We get bonds. We have like a bond, and we have workers' comp. We have different things to treat these people. But this is just our general liability and property and auto that we're doing right now.
Okay.
For the parks, if a kid slips and falls or something, this is our liability, or the trucks.
Yes.
We're self-insured.
Do they come inspect each year?
Well?
There was 2 questions
They do
there.
about every year. They do inspect the parks in different places. They'll come out and do an audit.
Okay.
I think we utilized it for our sewer a while ago when we had a big break. So
They've been good. They've really been good to work with. And again, the education, training, the audits, rebates.
Yeah.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Anybody else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is a closed meeting. Bill, do we have a closed meeting?
No need for a closed meeting.
Hallelujah. All right, so we don't need item 11. Other business, chief.
We're staying busy. This pandemic thing's got everybody on edge. And everybody wants to go back to work and school and they can't, so they fight. So that keeps us in business. We see our suicide, well, threatened suicide, attempted suicide, domestic violence are up considerably, but the officers are doing a good job keeping them under control. I think most of us are familiar with Mr. John Reynolds, who comes, I think, to our council meetings once in a while, presents the American Spirit Award. He's given it to different employees for different reasons. I nominated our new canine officer, Brady Benson, for the American Spirit Award this year. And he received that award from Mr. John Reynolds and his foundation. They gave him a $300 check and a certificate of appreciation for his good work. And I gave Brady a letter of thanks for the good work he's done, taking on the canine project from the previous owner. He's housing the dog at his home, attending weekly trainings. The dog's doing outstanding. The officer's doing outstanding. So he's well deserving of that American Spirit Award. And about 2 weeks ago, Mr. Reynolds brought it in. And because there's no official council meeting at that time, I gave it to Brady with the thanks from the mayor, city council, and myself. And he's well deserving of that and received it.
So if you happen to see Brady out patrolling, speed past him, get him to pull you over, tell him thank you for such good.
He's the one in the marked Explorer,
Yeah,
the dark blue Explorer, it says canine on it. You can kick him off, but not the dog.
Yeah. Well deserved, well deserved. Thanks, Chief, for nominating.
Brady's way more patient than Bryn.
Last week we did our yearly firearms qualification, had the department meet up at Brigham City Range. We get that for free. Detective Sean Reed's our firearms instructor and range master, put an outstanding training program for the guys and myself. And everybody that did real good, qualified on the new rifles that you received in the last year, and the sidearms as well as off-duty weapons. So everybody passed. We're all certified, qualified for another year, and our thanks to everybody as well as Detective Reed for the good program we did. Just a couple statistical information. Calls for April. I got called out of our last council meeting, but calls for April were 812 calls for service, 35 citations, which are expected to be down a little bit with the COVID thing, and 9 arrests. So we are staying busy. And I will prepare an email to the mayor and manager to forward to the city council on our turkey vulture issue and what we've done so far and what we can or can't do from here on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tyson, anything we haven't covered?
Just we'll try to work on those city council tours up at the sites. I think it's important that staff's there, and with missing people and all the time-consuming projects that are going on right now, it just hasn't been a good time to have people spend that time up and just touring at the moment.
When would be a good day, you suppose, for the council? I mean, members of the council, what works good if?
Well, there's a shop, they submitted the 10-day notice for demolition today.
Okay.
So I think when that gets going, maybe sometime after that,
okay,
we'll sort of pick days. I don't know if we want to try to do a fast run through everybody's or just hit a couple of each one, but
I'll leave it up to the council. You know,
Founder's Day is open.
Good point. All righty.
I'll take you
Yeah,
up
I'm
for free
talking.
on Founder's Day.
Send out some different days and times and we'll try to get 2 or 3 or whatever signed up for the same couple of times. If that
Yep.
will-
Yep, we're getting to a better place. We should be able to get something to happen soon.
All righty. Bill.
Just an update on Founder's Day as far as I'm aware. And I'm sure other folks will have additional things to add to this, but we are working through the events as outlined in our last update and Founder's Day meeting. And there are a lot of really fun things going on, and we're excited about that. Just as far as budgets are concerned, we're trying to stay within the budget as outlined. And when I say trying to, I mean we will stay within the budget as outlined. Because a lot of the events are going to come in either at no cost or at a very minimal cost. And so we're going to try to make sure that people have some incentive to be involved as well, though. Allison and I talked about doing some prizes and things. And part of the difficulty there is that we don't know how many people will participate. So if, for example, in the porch parade, if we give out little prizes to people, if we have 5 people participate, you know, then $500 goes a long way. But if we have 500 people participate, then it doesn't quite stretch as far. And so we're trying to kind of balance there and find out ways to encourage people to participate and have fun with the thing, and just make it something that's memorable and meaningful for everybody. We've been working closely with Jerry on the heritage side of things as well, to make sure that that gets highlighted and doesn't get swept away or forgotten in all of the other events that are going on just for the fun. And so yeah, we had meetings there this morning, and the thing is starting to really take shape, and we're excited about it. Oh, one thing I didn't need to mention about that, Pleasant View, we're trying to gear it towards Pleasant View residents only. As much as we can, because if there are other communities that get word that we're doing fun things, they may all swoop in and use up all the spaces and you know, just take up all of the event space that we have available. So we're trying to make sure that the highlight stays on Pleasant View residents and the benefit is to Pleasant View residents. So Allison and I discussed some of the wording on how we would encourage people from other cities to do their own thing. So I hope that makes sense, especially where our resources are involved. If we're going to do prizes and things like that, you know, if someone in North Ogden wants to do a porch decoration, that's great, do your thing, but we probably won't send our parade out and judge your porch because you're in North Ogden. Not that we don't love North Ogden, we do, but again, our resources need to really stay focused on our folks. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Laurie?
Nope, nothing.
Yeah. There's, I'm just going around the table in my mind here. Ann?
You say Ann? My turn?
Ann?
Okay, a couple things. I got a letter today from Reed Brown. He sent pictures and everything. He's concerned about parking on 2550 North, which is that road that's along the same as the pool, right? Is that the right road?
Very familiar with his concerns.
Yeah, so just wondering what has been addressed. How do we ease his concerns? Is it legal for a big rig to be parked on the side of the road there by those apartments? What's our ordinance and what can we do about it?
Chief, you want to talk to that one? I'm going to punt over to the chief.
Well, we've addressed it a couple of times. I think without proper signage and painting of curbs, I'd say it probably is legal. I don't know, we have a ordinance I'm aware of that says you can't be there. I think it's more annoying than it is troublesome, just for the fact some site visibility. We've addressed the chronic ones before. That seems as like herding cats. You herd one group out, you get another group in. So we've either got to go at it full force or leave it alone and maybe as administration, we can sit and talk about exactly what we should do or can do on that.
The hard thing is, and that enforcement is a difficult thing. Tracking down who owns a particular big rig that's parked on the side of the road can be a difficult thing. You know, they're often registered to a corporation that is either out of state or, you know, even out of the city, and getting them to respond to concern. The truck may be gone by the time you get someone out there to respond, and they'll say, well, we were there for a little while and now we're gone. And so it's kind of a, like the chief says, a herding cats kind of issue. There are other issues with parking down there. People will park, they live in the cove or things like that, and they'll park their RVs or boats or whatever out on the street because they don't have anywhere to park them in the apartment complex itself. That obviously is something that is a little bit easier to resolve because those people live right in the city, in the cove or other areas, and they just leave their things there. So we can find those and track down those people a little bit easier. Getting them to do something about it short of hauling their stuff away is also, that can be difficult as well, because they'll move it, they'll take it and go on a vacation and it's gone, and then they come back and store it and whatever. So
I guess my bottom line question is it illegal? Is it a safety issue? Is it fine? And we just need to tell them to, like, you know, you're just gonna have to deal with it. This is fine, you know? Mostly
that last one. If it's blocking someone's particular view, if it's too close to the intersection, there are places that are striped red down there that we can enforce, but it's a public road and people can and may park on a public road as long as they're not there for, what was it, Chief, like 3 days, 72 hours, something like that?
I think it's actually 7 days to be abandoned.
Okay.
Oh.
And that's the problem. You got people whose guests might park there. So you try to appease one person and it gets pretty. So as long as it's not a safety issue or somebody's using it for a long-term parking versus just, I got a party at my place and my guests need some place to park. I don't want a red stripe at all because
there is enough room to have those vehicles there. It's not a traffic hazard at all, and where it is a visual hazard, we can deal with that. But to make that whole thing where it's wide enough, tell all the people in the cove for their guests, their boats, their trailers, that they can't park in there when there actually is enough room to park in there.
So the 48-hour
take into consideration.
The 48-hour rule doesn't apply.
Nope.
Okay.
Whatever happened down on 2700, we addressed that a couple years ago with the abandoned trailers, or the people who drop their trailers there and then take their rig home. I don't see that very much anymore. Did that just go away, or did we do something about that?
We put a lot of notices on all those vehicles and contacted owners. I think a lot of them were tired of hearing from us, so they started to comply.
Yeah, it was along 89 also. We had a problem with semis parking there on the side of 89 that UDOT needed some help with. And I believe we addressed those too.
It's a tough thing because you have these people that take their trucks out and want to come home, and what do they do with them? It's a tough line. So.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. I just needed a little bit of direction on that so I could respond to him. Met with Allison.
We'll look at it some more.
Okay. Keep me posted a little bit on that too, so I can talk to him. Talked to Allison this morning. We've got some great events going on, the Porch Parade, the Goose Chase. We're gonna reach out to some Pleasant View businesses and ask them if they'd help support us a little bit. And we'll also support them, buying some prizes from them as well. I'd like to just hear how you guys feel about, I know there's businesses right in Pleasant View, our Straw Market and our Twisted Sugar, that kind of stuff. But what do you think about supporting like people who live in Pleasant View and their businesses are outside? And if you agree with that, who are those people that you know? Give me 2 or 3 names so I can reach out to them.
Chick-fil-A.
Who's that owner?
Yeah. John Cattle works at Chick-fil-A and he's one of the managers.
Big time supporter of most stuff.
He lives right here on Pleasant View Drive across the street from Stroh Market.
Okay,
I
awesome.
try to go 3 times a week
At least.
to support them.
Tyson is paying his mortgage.
Yeah,
Think
Jeff at Lee's Market, I think he lives in Pleasant View, the manager at Lee's.
Yeah, he lives down by Highway 89 in Pleasant View.
Mhm.
Also Bella's.
Oh, yeah, that's
They
a good
live in
one.
Pleasant View too.
Jones T-shirt and signs.
Janice lives in Pleasant View.
I think her entire staff lives in Pleasant View.
Who's
Mhm.
that, Tyson?
Janice
Jones T-shirt and signs.
Okay,
Janice Jones.
awesome.
Are you looking for product from them or donations or any business?
Yeah, we kind of are just a little bit of both. We're trying to give them some business too, and maybe a little traffic as well. So anyway, that'll help me. Thank you. We'll start from there. If you think of anybody else, just shoot their name to me, text or email. So
Pepsi,
Pepsi.
you know, Pepsi, they donate a huge amount of pop to us. I would think that we could still
Admiral Beverage.
utilize that. Yeah, Admiral Beverage, but
Clarence Foster.
they give us a pallet or two of water and pop for Founder's Day, and I bet they would still give that. And you know, pop's always a good thing. So
Okay, awesome. That's good. Great.
I could talk to them about, since we would have talked to them anyway for Founder's Day, and see if they're interested in doing any type of donation to the events.
Or they could do prizes, offer free prizes and stuff for their.
A case of pop.
There you go.
Yeah, we could use it. That'd be awesome. I mean, we'll put it to use if they want to. So that'd be great. Tyson,
well, they're huge supporters. I think they donate
are.
that every year, don't they? I mean, we don't.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they
just-
do.
They go back up and load that up, so it's huge. Very good supporter of Pleasant View.
okay, that's all I got. Thanks so much, you guys.
Okay, Mr. Bailey,
I don't have anything. Thank you.
that was quick. Great. Sarah,
Also just meeting with Allison today to, with publications and getting that all squared away, talking to iHeartRadio today, who's doing the big frontline salute and participating with our radio station and organizing that with the guy who does our fireworks. He had a kind of a broker or connector because some of the places that I've been contacting up here hadn't responded yet. And so iHeartRadio, I'm trying to think of the station, is probably going to facilitate providing the music and stuff, via radio so everybody can tune in, and that will be fun. And Jill forwarded me a thing from the Planning Commission, if I could just a couple of things of what Planning Commission is discussing, possible amendments to our commercial zone, specifically considering allowing used car lots in our neighborhood commercial zone language, possible things for that. They're just talking about it. And some of the rezones were mentioned tonight with the Singleton property and, well, not the Singleton, just properties along 1000, but Singleton properties coming up and Harris Hills and Fox Meadows, and just with that. And Bill and Jill have been really good in providing some training to the commission and understanding, parliamentary procedure and also how to approach certain issues in rezoning and ordinance, language and things like that. So they're busy right now looking at our neighborhood commercial and what that might entail.
okay,
And that's it.
Dave,
Just a couple things. Been working with Heather and Jerry Burns on history for the website to upload that. They've got a menu all ready to go and all the information to go behind the menu, and it's ready to go live. I reviewed all of that. I don't see any concern with it. It's basically everything that's been hard copied digitally from what's downstairs, and it's kind of interesting. I think it's going to be helpful. It sounds like there's lots of activities with the history that for Founders Day, that at least can't remember what the activity called. What's it called?
Goose chase.
Goose chase. I couldn't think of it. Anyway, we'll be goose chasing around, but no, anyway, that's good. I appreciate what Heather's done there and Jerry and Win Phillips to get that going. So anyway, I think that's going to go live right away. I don't see any reason why it can't. And I think Heather's going to work through that and figure that out. So, and as far as Founders Day goes, I mean, we got some work to do because the Connection magazine had all our formal past events on there, right? So
That's already been sent in because it had to be due by the 15th. And all we did was basically, he created a modified Founders Day heading and then referred them to our website, our Facebook page, to our newsletter and emails within, Pleasant View for more information to come.
Okay, good, because the last one had all the formal stuff in it. So
that's basically what my message said too, is, we've canceled the parade and the Scant Salmon Bake and the car show, but we're doing the fireworks and we're coming up with some other smaller events with more information to come. So,
and we'll get that out on social media and through email blasts and through the newsletter. Heather and I are tying that up by Monday with all information that Ann and Allison are collecting and what Jerry's collecting with you guys, and just finalizing that to get in the newsletter by Monday. And then we'll send out email blasts and refer them to the Facebook page and also the city's website. And that will help keep numbers down a little bit too within our city, because we're not going to try to go out of the city to publicize, mostly within the city. So.
Okay, Dave, anything else?
Nope. Thanks.
Okay. Steve?
I want your opinion on something, if it'd be okay. In signage, when talking to Jerry, typically he and I will go out and put signs up over the city advertising Founders Day with the date and everything. And we've kind of come to the consensus that we're going to put at least 2 signs, one on the corner of 500 and Alberta, and one over by City Park as people come down 900.
Okay.
They'll have an amended Founders Day. He would get some signs to kind of put over the top of our Founders Day thing. We had some new ones this year where we listed the activities, so we'll just blank off the ones that are not there. And it was kind of the food truck aspect and the fireworks and fun and games. So we'll do at least 2. My question to you as a city council is, and I don't know what I want even to do. Typically, we put a Founders Day with a date just on each Welcome to Founders Day. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those, 8 of those. We just kind of put them over the city signs. Do we leave those off? Or we could put an amended Founders Day? Do we have that be? We still want to let them know that it's Founders Day, and even though we're having this changed thing, I don't know. I think it can go both ways, as Bill kind of talked about. We don't want to open it up to the city. Salmon Bake's, of course, not here, which is a huge draw. But do we still want to have the members of Pleasant View recognize it as Founders Day? Or do we just do the 2? I think the 2 signs on, like I say, 500 Alberta and City Park, I think we'll go ahead and do, unless you have an aversion to that. But
I think you just do the 2. I wouldn't worry about my personal thoughts on the signs, that come into Pleasant View. I think, because it's not a traditional Founders Day, and that's what we always do for Founders Day. I would just do just the 2 signs. That's just my thoughts.
But it still is Founders Day. I mean,
it is,
whether we're doing it or not, and that's where I kind of have the rub. Do we want to just let them know that it is Founders Day? It still is. We're still.
We'll see it with the 2 signs.
Can we use social media a little better? I mean, we've got a Facebook page, and let's just say, hey, tell your neighbors we're having Founders Day. It's amended, but it's for Pleasant View residents. It's not for anybody else.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's just for them, but kind of gear that towards them. I see what you're saying. You can't exclude if people from North Ogden come, they come. That's that. So
yeah, I mean, the fireworks. I'm not concerned about that. Let anybody come that wants to come. Really, I mean, there's enough roads in Pleasant View. There's enough people.
I guess what I would say is I'm good either way. I would say, is there a cost with amending all those signs? And if so, is the cost justified?
Jerry is, like I said, we've ordered, he ordered today 2 of those little stickers just to go on the top, you know, so I doubt it's gonna be much. I asked him to get the price on how much the others would be, because if it is $20 a piece, yeah, then that's not worth it. But if it's a couple bucks to slap it up, I don't know. So Sarah says no, Dave says no, Ann, what do you think?
Well, it's up to you.
Well, I can go either way. I can see your rub too, but I'm with you as well. It's Founder's Day and we're trying to pull people together. And so I'll support you either way. I lean on the side of put the signs up. It's Founder's Day.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
I'll do whatever, I support whatever you work out, Steve.
Yeah, what do you think? Was that a thumbs up?
If you want to do it, Steve, do it.
Yeah. No, you've already said no, Sarah. You're already on the negative.
No, if it were me, I wouldn't do it. But if you want to do it, I don't care.
No, it is. I mean, I go both ways. That's why I couldn't tell him, because I could see, you know, we're not going to have the Founder's Day, but it's still Founder's Day, for heaven's sakes.
You know, we're kind of used to having surprises these days, so maybe we should just set off the cannons and not put any signs. We'll set off the cannons in the morning, and whatever happens that day happens.
All right, I think it'll come down to the cost. I mean, I'll get back with you later.
All right, great. Thank you.
If it's not much, because there's nothing on it that says anything about the activities.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's just the date.
It's just the date. It's Founder's Day, and we're still proud to be a community. You know, that's kind of the way I was thinking, but I didn't want to have people say, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna have salmon bake and all the things that go along with it." No, those things are not happening. So.
Yeah, it was a sad time, I tell you.
Hey,
a lot of people expressed disappointment, mainly about the salmon bake.
Yeah.
One more thing real quick, because hopefully everybody participates in the porch parade and the goose chase and stuff. And we were going to go around and take pictures. There's money in the budget for just some shirts, and we have new members of the council anyway. So get me your shirt sizes. And we were thinking along the lines of a nice polo this year, a 3-button-up polo. So that's all.
So
get me your shirt sizes.
Yeah, I mean, what's the council's job the whole day? I mean, is that all outlined pretty much?
You're going to be participating in all the stuff.
Well, I get that. I'm just saying, is there things I'm missing or I'm not aware of that I need to be involved in?
I think once we get a final agenda with, a timeline and all that.
Okay.
After
there would normally be a lot more for you to do, Dave.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Helping set up the salmon bake and cleaning up and the parade and all those fun things. But
I've been involved in all those, so I'm glad to do that. I wasn't even going to be here this year, but I'm here now. It's party time. So.
Love it.
Sarah, what's the shirt going to look like? Is it going to have a logo on it, or what's the color? What are you going to do?
Well, the thought was, there has been some requests for polo shirts. You know, more of a 3-buttoned-up collar shirt type of thing. And with a logo, kind of like that, with a logo on the side and just Founder's Day. We can stick a name on the back, or we could just put a name right by the logo. You know, Pleasant View Founder's Day, and then you could put your name right underneath it.
Polo would be better on the front.
Yes, I agree.
And what color are you looking at?
Do you have a preference? We've done blue, we've done gray, we've done
orange, maybe.
A nice maroon, Steve. A maroon.
I wouldn't do maroon. I don't want to do maroon.
A red.
Salmon.
No, that's Weber High. Wow.
We'll pick out a really good
orange and black, Ogden High all the way.
Oh my heck.
Oh wow.
What year, Steve?
83.
You can message in your color preference. Majority wins.
Something light. Something light. I mean, I don't want to do white, but a light blue would be nice, I think.
Charcoal, sure. Something light.
Yeah.
Okay. Send something out to us, let us know.
And give me your size.
Jill, do you have anything?
XL for me.
Okay.
I kind of like red. I really do. Would you wear red, Steve?
I don't know. I don't like red at all.
Would you wear it?
Too hot and too dark. No, I don't like it. It's fine. I mean, if you want to get it, I don't vote for red.
I actually do like Red Bay. Hey,
Two.
we'll pick a good color. It'll be
XL.
good. What?
Two.
2XL. Okay. Yeah. Send me a text.
XL for me.
Jill? Do you have anything?
Did you say Jill or Bill?
I said Jill.
Okay, quick
Do you have
question.
anything? Okay.
Kate wanted to know when they could meet physically in the council chambers again.
Who wanted to know?
Keith,
Planning Commission.
Oh,
Planning Commission.
Oh, I'm glad you remembered that, Jill. Thank you.
I think as soon as we enter the green phase.
Are you fine if I let Keith, if he wants to come into the building, if he
Yeah,
can?
he can do like we're doing. I mean, there's
Okay.
a small group of us here. You know, he could run the meeting from here or whatever, but as far as everybody assembling and that, not until we get to the green phase, which will probably be not that far out.
I agree. I'll let him know.
Okay, great, thank you. Is that everybody okay with that? Okay. I don't know if Laurie, did you have something you wanted to talk about this? It was enclosed in our packet, the conflict of interest disclosure form.
A reminder, just on our conflict of interest is in your packet. We've actually officially now typed up one. Annually, we're gonna see if we can collect those from anybody, but if you ever do have a conflict within the year, you do need to fill that out. I think we tried to make it pretty explanatory on what type of things are conflicts and when you need to get them to us. For instance, if you're coming to city council, you're gonna enter into an agreement that is regulated by the city, you got 10 days or before you enter into that agreement. But that's there, just if you guys do have a conflict, submit it to the mayor. We keep them on file, they are public records. If anybody ever calls for them, and it is required by state law.
Whether you do or don't, you don't have to fill it out if you don't
have a conflict.
Only if you do. Okay.
And
You-
Jill,
I can't verbally state I have a conflict of interest. I have to have it in writing.
Yeah, you have to have the first two items on that first sheet. It has to be in writing. The third one can be done before a meeting, before we're actually taking action on it.
But, and if something appears on the agenda that you go, hey, that could be a possible conflict, declare it now in the meeting, then do a form after,
Okay.
but, you know, I'm not sure how much. So far in 2.5 years, we haven't had a single declaration. And Jill, I don't know if you've included that on your planning commission agenda, that,
We have,
okay, great, thank you.
and I've actually talked to him about the form, and the form has been sent out. I'm gonna send it out again because I haven't seen anything back yet.
All righty, with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Hey, Mayor, just 10 more seconds. I really liked your article in the connection, or the Pleasant View connection. I think you did a really good job
Oh, thank you.
stating the, what we're going through. So I definitely had it here to mention.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, very, very
It was
well
really
worded.
good.
I really appreciate that. I'll make the motion to dismiss.
Second the motion.
Okay. Motion by Gibbons, second by Bailey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Enjoy the 80 degrees.
Thanks, everybody.
94 by Saturday. Ew.
Yeah, thanks a lot. See you.
See ya.
Yeah.
Oh, not too bad. He likes hot weather. He likes hot weather. He likes hot weather.
Shorter than I thought it'd be.
It's funny, things that you think would just go.
Yeah. Just a little
Hours.
hours. I would say to take the.
If we could have city council without involving Founder's Day, this meeting had been an hour short.